The dark secret of my grandma's beach house. 30 friends are coming. What happened at midnight? The ocean roared like a wild animal, and the moon hung low, casting an eerie glow over Grandma's old beach house. It was creaky and crooked, standing like a stubborn guard against the endless waves. Tonight was supposed to be a celebration, a gathering of 30 friends ready to reconnect and make memories. But whispers faded into shadows as they pulled up, one by one, cloaked in laughter that didn't quite reach their eyes. Something was off. The salty air was thick with unspoken dread. It was the kind of place where secrets nestled in the walls and memories lingered like ghosts, and tonight, they were all about to stir. The first strange moment struck like lightning when Jenna noticed the strange footprints leading to the back door. They weren't human, too large, too deep, with claws that gripped the sand. Everyone laughed it off at first, even as the laughter echoed hollowly against the wind. But Jenna's heart raced. With each wave that crashed, the footprints seemed to whisper a warning, a promise of chaos to come. As midnight approached, the air shifted. The laughter turned wild, but the eyes flickered nervously toward the house's darkened corners. They dared each other to explore, to delve deeper into the mysteries that surrounded the dilapidated structure. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from upstairs, silencing the party. Eyes widened. Faces turned pale. No one wanted to investigate. "It's just the wind," someone stammered, but nobody was convinced. The wind howled back, almost mocking them. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." As they hesitated, a faint whisper floated through the air, a chilling sound like a forgotten song. It threaded through their minds, wrapping tighter around their stomachs. The group exchanged nervous glances, each feeling the tightening in their chests. They should have left. They should have known better. The clock ticked ominously toward midnight, and then, without warning, the lights flickered, and an ominous figure appeared in the window. Was it real? Or had their minds finally cracked under the pressure? The figure pointed toward the ocean, where something dark and ominous began to emerge from the depths. The laughter that had once spilled from the house now felt like a distant memory, and the only thing left was the unbearable tension of fear and the realization that something far beyond their understanding awaited them in the shadows. What would happen next? Would they be bold enough to uncover the truth, or would they succumb to the darkness that loomed so heavy in the air? The figure in the window vanished as quickly as it had appeared, leaving the group frozen in place, hearts racing in unison like a pounding drum. The air thickened, and the sound of the crashing waves morphed into an eerie chorus, almost as if the ocean was crying out in warning. Jenna clutched her friend Sarah's hand, her eyes wide with fear. "Did you see that?" she gasped, her voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe it was just a trick of the light," Sarah replied, her voice shaking. But even she didn't believe it. Another bang echoed from upstairs, louder this time, vibrating through the floorboards, and the laughter that had once filled the room was now strangled by a heavy silence. Tension coiled around them, the atmosphere crackled, electric and threatening. "Let us go check it out," Mark, the bravest of the group, said, his bravado fueled by a cocktail of fear and adrenaline. "If we don't, this night will haunt us forever." The others exchanged glances, their faces masks of uncertainty. "Seriously, that was just the wind, right?" Lisa suggested, but her voice quavered, betraying her own fears. Mark rolled his eyes, shooting down her suggestion. "Who else with me?" He took a step toward the narrow staircase that spiraled into darkness. With hesitant nods and murmurs of dissent, 2 more friends followed him, a decision fueled more by fear of being left alone than by bravery. As they climbed the creaking steps, the atmosphere shifted again. Each creak of the stairs echoed in Jenna's ears, heavy and insistent like a countdown. They reached the second floor and the world seemed to tilt. The air felt thicker up there, almost suffocating. The hallway lay dimly lit by the pale moonlight sneaking through grimy windows. Shadows loomed like sentinels, waiting to pounce. Mark led the way into the first room, his flashlight beam dancing across the walls. Dust motes swirled in the light, swirling like memories best left undisturbed. "Nothing," he said, forcing a laugh, but his voice trembled. Just then, a soft thump echoed from the end of the corridor. Jenna's heart lurched. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. The others nodded, eyes wide with fear, breaths shallow. They pressed forward, stepping cautiously toward the sound, each footfall heavy with dread. As the door to the last room creaked open, a cold gust whipped around them, chillifying their very bones. Inside, the moonlight illuminated an old trunk in the corner, its surface tarnished and worn. Jenna felt compelled to approach it, despite a gnawing sense of foreboding. "Don't, Jenna. It could be dangerous," Sarah cautioned, grabbing her arm. But curiosity overcame dread. She reached for the latch, her fingers trembling as she pulled open the trunk. The moment it cracked, an acrid, stifling odor poured out like a noxious cloud. Inside, a collection of old photos lay scattered, faces twisting in frozen screams, as if they were trapped in time, telling stories of horror. But there was more. A glint of something metallic caught her eye. A necklace, intricately designed, lay among the debris. Its aura felt familiar, as if drawing her closer, whispering secrets only she could hear. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently, plunging them into darkness. A loud crash from below sent them reeling backward, and Jenna's heart raced into a frenzy. "Get out. We have to leave." Someone shrieked, but Jenna stood rooted to the spot, clutching the necklace. Questions scorched through her mind. What did this mean? Why did it feel so significant? And, more terrifyingly, what had they unleashed by opening that trunk? As they stumbled back down the stairs, a low growl echoed from outside, deeper and more menacing than any sound they had heard before. The ocean surged violently, and they could see shadows moving beneath the waves, dark shapes shifting, creeping closer. Would they brave the edge of the water, or were they just moments away from facing something far worse? The night was only just beginning, and the coastline held secrets more sinister than they ever imagined. The flicker of the lights died, plunging them into total darkness. Jenna's pulse raced, the necklace still clutched tightly in her hand. An icy chill wrapped around her, wrapping around her fears, tightening until breathing felt like a luxury. "What do we do?" Sarah's whisper vibrated with terror, breaking the suffocating silence. "Don't move," Mark hissed, gripping the flashlight. The beam cracked through the dark like a fragile thread, his hand shaking. It swept across the room, momentarily illuminating terrifying shapes that morphed into monstrous figures caught in the shadows. They were just memories, old furniture, a leaning wardrobe, something draped in a sheet, but the imagination found life in the void. The weight of the necklace pressed into Jenna's palm, sending curious chills up her arm, as if the metal could offer answers. "Let us get out of here," Lisa urged, her voice raw. "Now." They hustled down the corridor, guided by the panic bubbling up inside them. But as they reached the staircase, that terrifying growl echoed again, vibrating through the floorboards. Frozen, they exchanged frantic glances, reality sinking in. Whatever was outside was drawing closer, and the ocean wasn't just angry. It was alive. "Something out there, isn't it?" Jenna's voice trembled, hardly recognizing her own reflection in their wide-eyed fear. Mark's bravado seemed to slip, his jaw tightening. "I'll go first," he declared, pushing ahead, but with every step, dread thickened the air, and the once familiar path now twisted into a dark labyrinth. They arrived at the bottom step, the front door an inviting, yet intimidating, barrier. They turned to check behind them, the shadow of the hallway stretching and lunging as if alive. Jenna felt her breath quicken. "What about the others?" she whispered. "They should be downstairs." Mark hesitated, then steeled himself. "We can't stay here. They must have felt the chaos. We need to find them." As they made their way to the living room, they halted, eyes wide. The living room seemed to have transformed. The furniture was shifted, the place where they had all been laughing just hours before now was ominously rearranged. "Guys," Sarah breathed, pointing. The glass door to the back porch was wide open, the curtains flapping like ominous wings in the roaring wind. The crashing waves filled the air with a desperate wail. "What is going on?" The group moved cautiously toward the door. Jenna could almost hear the distant echoes of their friends' laughter from earlier in the night, now replaced by a haunting silence. "Where is everyone?" she murmured, panic rising. "Do you think they went to the beach?" Mark suggested, peering into the darkness beyond. "They might be in trouble. We have to check." "Or they might be already left," Lisa snapped, biting back the fear that threatened to swallow her whole. Just then, a crash outside sent them all jumping backward. "We should just call the police." "No service here," Mark countered harshly, pushing through the door. The salt air whipped around them like ice, biting at their skin as they stepped onto the porch. They peered into the infinite shadows cast by tall cliffs and the angry ocean below, the moonlight betraying no secrets. As the darkness swallowed the space around them, Jenna glanced back at the house, her heart racing. The trunk, the necklace, it all intertwined somehow. There was a connection she was desperate to understand. In that moment, she turned and shouted, "We need to find everyone. Now!" Just as they were about to step off the porch, Jenna felt it again, an electric jolt coursing through her body. It came from the necklace vibrating, pulsing with an energy she couldn't explain. "Wait," she gasped, holding it up to examine it closer. The glint of the moonlight revealed haunting whispers hidden in its grooves, warnings etched into its design. The growl resonated once more, louder, hungrier. They stood on the verge between terror and the unknown, footsteps echoing from deep within the woods. Something was coming, and time was running out. Would they face the waves, or were they being beckoned into deeper darkness than they could ever imagine? The faintest sound of laughter drifted in the wind, almost childlike, twisting into something eerie. What had they unknowingly awakened? And even more frightening, could it be a race against time before they fell victim to whatever lurked in the abyss? The shadows danced like nervous phantoms, growing restless with every passing moment. Jenna could feel the weight of the necklace pulling her, almost demanding answers. She looked at her friends, their faces lit only by the weak beam of Mark's flashlight. Fear struck her heart like icy water. "Did you hear that?" Sarah whispered, her breath shallow. A rustle came from the woods, a soft crack, then a low hiss. It pierced through the night, tightening the knot of dread in Jenna's stomach. "Keep it together," Mark said, his voice firm. Yet, his eyes shimmered with uncertainty. "We'll find them." They stepped down onto the gravel path that led toward the beach, the salty air thickening with the smell of impending storm. Waves crashed against the rocks, more furious now, mirroring their rising anxiety. Jenna felt the vibration from the necklace again, pulsating against her skin, urging her forward with a strange magnetism. Suddenly, Lisa grabbed her arm, pulling her back. "You shouldn't be holding that," she cautioned, her voice sharp, yet trembling. What if it's tied to whatever is out here?" "It's just a necklace." Jenna shot back, though doubt clouded her thoughts. But in her heart, something felt ominously right about it. It was as if the necklace knew something she didn't. Mark moved ahead, leading them away from the porch light and deeper into the enveloping darkness. "They have to be close," he repeated, though his words felt more like a mantra than a statement of confidence. A distant scream shattered the oppressive quiet, a sound so raw and filled with fear that it sent chills racing down Jenna's spine. "That wasn't one of us, was it?" she gasped, her mind reeling. Mark's grip on the flashlight tightened. "No. Come on." They hurried toward the sound, and for a moment, it felt as if the world had tilted on its axis. The path narrowed, and the trees seemed to lean in, whispering their secrets through rustling leaves. Jenna could hear her heartbeat hammering in her ears, drowning everything else out. They plunged ahead, finding themselves at the edge of the beach where silvery waves licked the shore, glimmering like shards of glass under the moonlight. Jenna stumbled to a stop, her heart racing. "Where are they?" she cried out. "Over there." Mark pointed toward a small group of shadows huddled near the water. Relief flooded Jenna, her eyes scanning as she ran closer. As they approached, the figures took shape. They were their friends. But they weren't alone. Dark shapes moved among them, slippery and sinuous, seeming to blend into the night itself. A powerful force surged in Jenna's chest. The necklace resisted in her grip, almost a pulse of warning. "Get away. It's dangerous," Jenna yelled. But it was too late. They had already locked eyes with the things lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, a blinding light exploded around them, bright and surreal, bathing the beach in a dreadful glow. The dark entities hissed and hissed, unveiling themselves as grotesque forms, twisted faces caught in perpetual anguish, arms reaching for something just beyond their grasp. "What is that?" Lisa shrieked, stumbling back, her foot hitting something soft and cold. "A hand?" "Run!" Mark shouted, panic painting his voice. Jenna's heart raced as she clutched the necklace. There was something in its pulse that felt tied to the chaos before them, a connection she couldn't shake. Just as they turned to flee, Jenna felt a surge, as if the necklace reacted to the monstrous presence. "Wait! We have to stand together. We can't let them take us." But was she right? Did they have the strength to face these horrors, or would they be consumed by the onslaught of memories etched into the very land they stood on? The growling sound escalated into a roar as the shadows advanced, and Jenna forced herself to breathe. The truth of the necklace lingered on the brink of revelation, shattered hopes on a precarious edge. What could they possibly do to fight against fate? And then, amidst the frightful clamor, Jenna's thoughts spiraled to one unshakable question: could the truth of their own past hold the key to survival, or was the deeper darkness simply too much to conquer? Jenna's vision narrowed as the darkness surged forward, filling the air with a stench of decay and desperation. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing the yearning cry for survival that screamed through her veins. "Don't let them touch you," she shouted, trying to pull her friends closer, but the shadows seemed to move with a will of their own, like an ocean tide pulling them down into an abyss. Mark's determination flickered. "We have to find a way out." Back toward the trees. Jenna's head spun. The ancient oaks loomed behind them, and she could see the silver beams of moonlight dancing through their branches. Were they safe there, or would those distorted faces follow them into the sanctuary of the woods? "They can't cross into the light," Sarah yelled, clinging to Jenna's arm desperately. "Come on." But even as they started retreating, Jenna could feel the necklace pulsing more violently, almost a warning against running. "No!" Jenna shouted in frustration, the confusion clawing at her brain. "We need to stay here." "What?" Lisa's eyes widened. "Jenna, are you crazy? They'll get us. I feel it's like it wants us to fight." Jenna felt a wild surge of hope, mixed with terror. She could almost hear it whispering, urging her forward. The shadowy forms wriggled like worms, their hollows filled with sorrow, morphing into something grotesque as they stretched toward the group. A single dark hand shot forward, and time seemed to freeze as Jenna instinctively reached for it, feeling both terrified and drawn, as if it held secrets she needed to unlock. Just as the hand grazed her fingers, the necklace exploded with a brilliance that momentarily blinded her. The shadows erupted into a fierce gale, recoiling as if burnt by an unseen flame. "What the hell?" Mark gasped, his voice tinged with awe and confusion. Jenna gritted her teeth, feeling the heat radiate off the necklace. "We can fight. It's powering us," she screamed. "We just need to focus." The whispers around her turned into shrieks of rage, dark forms seething, darting from side to side, trying to regroup. Jenna's pulse raced, and she squeezed her eyes shut, flooding her mind with memories of laughter and love from sunny days at the beach house. "Remember why we're here," she cried out, and with a collective breath, they all focused on the positive, the connections that bound them as friends, as family. The shadows hesitated, sensing the shift in energy. For a moment, the gnashing mouths twisted in confusion, their forms faltering. The closer Jenna got to her friends, the more profound the surge from the necklace became. "Tell them to leave us alone," Jenna shouted, each word tasting like fire on her tongue. We are not afraid. As if responding to her challenge, the shadows lunged again, but this time they were slowed, snagging against an invisible barrier of light that pulsed a steady rhythm from the necklace. They writhed and twisted, searching for a weakness, but Jenna stood firm, the glow reflecting in her wide, fierce eyes, but the darkness was clever. Derek, one of their friends who lingered at the edge of the group, suddenly tripped, falling toward the very shadows they were trying to resist. No! Sarah screamed, reaching out for him. Jenna felt a rush of dread. In that split second, memories flooded back the necklace, its origins tied to a family secret, something buried deep in the sands of the beach. Stop! Put your hand on the necklace! She yelled, her voice sharp with urgency. Derek looked up, confusion swirling on his face as the shadows closed in around him. Their shadows loomed like storm clouds ready to unleash a tempest. Could she convince him? Would he have the faith to trust her? As the darkness loomed, a flicker of doubt crept into the edges of Jenna's mind. What other powers did the necklace possess? What could she unlock if she controlled it? Trust me, she shouted, reaching her hand out as the pulse began to sync with her frantic heartbeat. We're stronger together. What would happen if they all wore it? If they amplified its power for one last stand? But would that risk plunge them deeper into the very shadows they aimed to escape? Or might it uncover the dark secrets that held the beach house in its malevolent grip? Derek hesitated, the shadows curling closer, wrapping around him like starving serpents. Sweat dripped down his brow. Jenna, what do I do? Just trust me, she urged, her heart racing. The necklace thumped against her chest like a drum, urging her on. You have to put your hand on it. With a deep breath, Derek lunged forward, his hand clasping around the necklace. Jenna felt an electric jolt connect them, a wild surge of energy pulsing through the group. The shadows shrieked, their anguished wails filling the night air, shaking the ground beneath their feet. No! It can't be! Cried one of the shadowy figures, its voice dripping with bitterness. Jenna could feel their fear, could taste it on her tongue, a raw, metallic flavor. The darkness twisted and contorted, shrieking as they recoiled from the glowing light emanating from the necklace. Keep holding on! Jenna shouted, and everyone joined hands, forming a chain of warmth and strength. As they focused their energy, the necklace brightened, illuminating the entire glade in a radiant glow. The shadows halted, writhing in desperation as they tried to slip away from the light. Fight back! Mark yelled, his eyes fiery with determination. We can push them away. They concentrated, pouring every drop of love and friendship into that light. With each thought of unity, the shadows blasted backward, howling as they hit the limits of that shimmering barrier. More! Jenna cried. We need more. Lisa squeezed Jenna's hand tighter. I don't know if I can keep this up. Yes, you can. Jenna urged. Just remember what brought us here. Everything we've shared. It was an uphill battle, but the light intensified, glowing with the brightness of 1,000 suns. Shadows blurred into a swirling whirlpool of anger and despair. Just as Jenna felt she might collapse from the effort, a wave of memories surged through her. Magical summer days at the beach house, laughter echoing around bonfires, the smell of salt water, and the comfort of friendship. In that moment, Jenna's focus sharpened. You're not welcome here, she screamed, directing her energy toward the shadows. You have no power over us. The ground shook, and without warning, a cacophony of anguished screams erupted from the dark figures. They erupted like disturbed insects, scattering in every direction as if they had been struck by lightning. Suddenly, Derek's grip faltered. The necklace pulsed wildly, sending splinters of light coursing through Jenna's body. Derek! She gasped, fear racing back into her veins that he was slipping. Jenna reached for him, but the shadows were regrouping, retreating to prepare for another assault. Derek, hold on. I can't. It's too much, he panted, fear gripping his voice. Jenna felt her heart drop. The necklace throbbed with darkness once more, shadows creeping closer, hungry and relentless. You have to believe. You've got this. Panic surged through her, wrapping around her throat like a noose. A flicker of doubt crossed his face. What if it's too late? Then we'll find a way together. Her heart raced as their hands slipped further apart. The necklace glimmered, and in that instant, Jenna caught a glimpse of what it could do if they unlocked its full potential. Jenna Derek's voice trembled, then, the horrible truth hit her. The necklace had called them here for a reason. Was it to unleash a greater power or something far more sinister? Behind them, the shadows twisted and writhed, reforming into grotesque shapes, their eyes like glowing coals filled with rage. You think you can banish us? They hissed, their voices a chilling chorus that sent shivers racing down Jenna's spine. We are linked by love and fear. Jenna screamed, feeling the burning resolve to protect her friends. This ends now. But in the swirling chaos, one question loomed larger than the rest. What would they have to sacrifice to protect their lives? Derek's hand began to slip, darkness clawing at him once more. Jenna! He cried, desperation etched in his voice. I can't hold on much longer. The shadows lunged, this time with an urgency that felt almost personal. Would they be able to fend them off, or would the secrets of the beach house swallow them whole? Jenna felt her chest tighten as Derek's fingers slipped dangerously close to the necklace's edge. The shadows swirled like a storm, a dark tide eager to engulf them all. Panic shot through her veins, raw and electric. Don't let go. We're almost there. She shouted, her voice catching on shards of fear. The shadows howled again, a terrifying cacophony that rattled the leaves above them. Jenna could feel their breath cold and tainted, like decay. It wrapped around her like an icy scarf, squeezing tighter with each passing second. Focus on the light. Focus. She urged the others, sensing their resolve wavering like flickering candle flames. Jenna! Derek's cry cut through the noise, raw despair lacing his words. It's not working. They're too strong. But Jenna couldn't let that thought take root. She wouldn't allow fear to take control. Think of the happiest moments. Our memories. She yelled, drawing on every warm recollection she could muster, the joy and laughter they had shared circling around her heart like fireflies. Remember the summer nights by the water? Mark chimed in, his voice steadying the group. The bonfire where we all laughed until we cried? Yes. That's it. Jenna encouraged, each word igniting the strength within her. They poured their thoughts into the light, visualizing laughter, friendship, and the bonds that tied them together. The necklace's glow surged, pushing the shadows back just a fraction more. Yet, with that victory came another wave of darkness, like a tidal wave crashing down upon them. Shadows clawed at Derek, their fingers stretching like wicked twigs, desperate to pull him under. Jenna, I can't, he gasped, fear cracking his voice. Those coal-like eyes of the shadows glared with unfiltered malice, and Jenna could see their rage bubbling within their swirling forms. I want to let them take you. She screamed, a primal instinct driving her forward. We can't give up. With all her might, she poured everything into the necklace, every ounce of love she felt for Derek and the others. The necklace pulsed fiercely, responding to her intention like a living thing, sending bright tendrils of light spiraling upward. The shadows recoiled, shrieking in agony as the light pierced through them. But then, they began to reform, coalescing into more formidable shapes, their voices rising in an almost rhythmic chant, a chorus of sorrow and anger that chilled Jenna to her core. You cannot trap us here forever. A shadow hissed, its form twisting unnaturally as if it were both there and not there at the same time. We have existed since before you were born. Enough. Jenna shouted back, her determination sparking like a flame. The ground beneath her feet shook violently, sending vibrations through her body. As she screamed into the darkness, Jenna suddenly remembered the inscription on the necklace, the one she had brushed off earlier. An ancient warning? Or perhaps a clue? Jenna. Derek's voice broke through her thoughts. What are you doing? For a split second, Jenna hesitated, a glimmer of doubt sliding into her mind. What if the necklace wasn't just a weapon against the shadows? What if it was something more insidious? I have an idea, but it could change everything. The shadows pressed in, hungry and relentless, the darkness tightening around them like a vice. Just trust me, she shouted, channeling everything she had into the light, racing against the clock and against the rising fear that threatened to swallow them alive. As the shadows howled once more and the ground quaked ominously, the necklace started to vibrate wildly in response to her fear. The glow flickered. Was it about to shatter? Would she and her friends unleash something upon the world far darker than any of them had ever imagined? In that urgent moment, Jenna knew only one thing: they had to unearth the truth of the necklace and face whatever terrible reality lay beyond the glade, before it was too late. The air thickened around them, a palpable weight pressing down as Jenna grappled with the swirling chaos. She could hear Derek's ragged breaths, feel the desperation wrapping around them all like a merciless shroud. The shadows twisted and danced, their malevolent forms pulsing with ancient power, howling threats that sent chills coursing through her spine. Hold on, Jenna yelled, racing against time. We need to know what this necklace really is. In their united fear, a flicker of hope ignited not just in the glowing necklace, but within each of them. They exchanged fleeting glances, each one a silent promise. Together, they had survived worse. Whatever darkness loomed ahead, they would face it as one. Mark broke the silence, his voice firm, despite the terror lacing the air. What if the inscription is important? What if it tells us how to turn the table? Right. Jenna scrambled to recall the small symbols etched on its surface. It felt like a riddle, like a warning. We have to figure it out. As the shadows coalesced into menacing figures, their ghastly eyes boring into the group, Jenna concentrated. What do we remember about that night? What did Grandma say? Any hint, anything? Only that she was afraid, Derek whispered, his eyes wide with realization. She warned us not to play near the old glade. But she never told us why. That's it, Jenna exclaimed. Their power comes from fear and secrets. If we can confront those memories, confront her fear, maybe we can break the darkness. Without another thought, Jenna led them back to the time when Grandma had shared stories around the fire, the same fire Mark had mentioned just moments ago. Close your eyes, she instructed, heart racing as they complied. Picture it now. Remember the warmth, the light, the love in her eyes. The necklace pulsed, and the shadows screeched, unsure. They recoiled from the memories she summoned. Mark spoke up, his voice a steady anchor. Picture the night we all laughed, when Grandma smiled so wide the sun could hardly match it. Jenna felt warmth roll over her, the necklace hummed with energy, light spilling forth like rays of dawn, pushing back the encroaching shadows. Yes. Feel her laugh wrapping around us. It's our shield. But the shadows grew wild, swirling with wrath, and one lunged toward Jenna, its form ominously looming as it clawed the air. You cannot erase us. We thrive where light dies. A thunderclap of darkness roared back at her, forcing Jenna to stagger. This was no ordinary shadow, it was as if it fed on despair and doubt. It whispered dark secrets in her ear, dredging up memories best left buried. You're not strong enough, Jenna. This is too much for you. With every taunt, Jenna's resolve crushed against its icy grip. Tears prickled her eyes, but she pushed them back. You're wrong, she roared, thrusting her palm outward. We will face it, together. The necklace flared brighter as her friends joined in, memories spilling from their hearts like a fountain of resilience. They pictured Grandma, her laughter breaking through the darkness, illuminating their fears with splashes of vibrant light. Stay with me. Focus on the warmth, Jenna called out, her voice rising over the howls of fury. The light intensified around them, illuminating their faces and igniting the spirits of those who believed in the truth of the past. Strike! Derek yelled, his face fierce, every ounce of determination written in his features. With one last surge, they unleashed everything they had into the necklace. Suddenly, a piercing sound shattered the air, as if a glass had been broken, and the shadows recoiled. But the dread coiled tighter than ever, the light felt closer, but so did the impending confrontation. Jenna could sense a finality looming. Whatever lay behind this powerful veil was now only moments away. A twisted smile appeared in the shadows, revealing glimmering teeth, a shape that looked eerily familiar. "Are you ready to uncover the truth?" It taunted, mocking as their world began to shift, the necklace vibrating furiously, a soft glow fading into something darker. What if this was just the beginning? As Jenna steadied herself, fear clawed at her gut. The shadows shifted again, drawing together in a maelstrom, forcing them to confront a reality even more terrifying than they dared to imagine. Time was running out, and with every heartbeat, a dreadful truth edged closer, challenging everything she thought she knew. Would Jenna be able to withstand the ultimate revelation, or would the shadow's grip be suffocating? The answers lay just beyond their reach, waiting to pull them deeper into the abyss. Jenna felt the air shift with a crackling energy, thick with anticipation and dread. The shadows twisted and contorted, morphing into an inky whirlpool that threatened to swallow them whole. She tightened her grip around the necklace, feeling its warmth against her palm, a desperate beacon in a world gone dark. "Hold tight," she shouted, her voice nearly breaking under the strain. She could see Mark and Derek's faces, taut with fear but lit by the stubborn flicker of hope that still danced in their eyes. The shadow lunged at them, its tendrils of darkness stretching like clawed fingers. "You think you can defy us?" it hissed, its voice a vile echo that dripped with malice. "You are nothing but children playing with fire." Suddenly, a surge of energy overwhelmed Jenna, as memories of Grandma flooded back, her gentle hands, her soothing voice, and the night she'd warned them not to go near the glade. The warnings had sounded like stories then, mere tales meant to frighten. How naive all of them had been. "Remember who she was," Mark shouted, his words cutting through the terror. "She loved us. She wouldn't want us to be pawns in this twisted game." With newfound determination, Jenna closed her eyes and focused. "Listen," she urged the others, her heart racing. "We need to conjure her strength, remember the love she had for each of us. Visualize her face." They joined hands, shutting out the dark whispers that clawed at the edges of their minds. Visions of their grandma danced before them, her laughter, the stories under the stars, the way her eyes sparkled when she spoke of magic and wonder. The necklace glowed fiercely in response, lighting their faces with an ethereal brilliance. The shadows twisted, shrieking in agony as they recoiled from the radiant warmth. "Pathetic children," the figure roared. "You cannot stop what has begun." Against all odds, Jenna felt their resolve solidify, like iron forged in fire. "We are not afraid of you," she yelled, every ounce of determination steeled in her voice. "We will take back what is ours." At that moment, the glow of the necklace exploded outward, flooding the space around them with brilliant light. The shadows, once menacing and bold, began to unfurl, choked by the warmth of their memories, their laughter, the moments spent with Grandma. For every laugh shared, every lesson learned, a piece of the darkness shattered, scattering into nothingness. But just as victory seemed within reach, the shadow figure reformed, its menacing grin reappearing among the remnants of its chaos. "You may drive me back today, but I will return. There are secrets buried deep, secrets of your family that you do not know." Jenna felt a chill race down her spine. What did it mean? Were there more dark layers to uncover? The necklace dimmed slightly, reflecting her sudden worry. "What do you mean?" she gasped. The shadows hissed, swirling furiously as if celebrating a cruel joke. "The past is riddled with horrors you must unearth to truly escape me." The spectral figure wavered, fading into a cyclone of dark mist, but not before Jenna caught a glimpse of a face she recognized, hauntingly familiar. Her heart raced, the connections slamming into her like a freight train. "Wait. Who are you?" The shadows peeled away, and with them, the echo of that sinister laughter lingered, chilling her to the bone. "Jenna!" Derek shouted, pulling her from her thoughts. "We need to go. Now." As they stumbled back, the harsh reality of their predicament set in. The air crackled with unresolved tension, and Jenna's heartbeat thundered in her ears. The confrontation had only just begun. What lay ahead was a journey into forgotten memories, the kinds they'd rather leave buried. But she couldn't back down now. The truth had become their only weapon, even as it loomed, dark and twisted in the shadows ahead. What were those secrets? She wondered aloud, shaking as the remnants of fear clung to her. What does it mean for us? As they turned to run, an unmistakable feeling gripped Jenna. The shadows weren't merely escaping, they were regrouping, pulling together once more, preparing for a final assault. Derek paused, glancing back at her. What do we do next? She took a deep breath, feeling the necklace pulsing gently in her hand, a reminder of Grandma's love. We dig deeper. We face them again. We find out everything. But lurking in the darkness was an unknown guardian, and they were only beginning to understand the twisted lineage of their family. Would the truth shatter them or set them free? The waves crashed against the shore, angry and relentless, as Jenna and her friends fled further into the clearing, breathless and shaky. They were still holding hands, a chain of strength fighting the shadows that threatened to close in once more. The necklace pulsed in rhythm with their hurried heartbeats, a beacon guiding them through the weight of dread that hung in the salty air. What do we do now? Sarah gasped, her voice trembling. The shadows flickered just at the edge of the glade, gesturing with claw-like fingers as if beckoning them back into the abyss. Jenna took a deep breath, heart hammering against her ribs. We confront Grandma's past. We face the truth she feared. The memories surged again, moments spent laughing beneath the stars, filled with warmth and love. We have to believe in ourselves and everything she taught us. Mark nodded, nourished by Jenna's conviction. The shadows trembled, sensing their resolve and shrinking back. This time it's different. We're not just running. We're fighting for our lives. Focus on what she wanted us to know, Jenna pressed, raising the necklace high. Its soft melody of warmth wrapped around them, and she began to recall every story Grandma had shared about the beach house. The laughter interrupted by hushed warnings of dark things that lurked beneath the surface, a chilling caution woven into her tales. Remember the night she talked about the storm? Derek's voice was steadier now, bolstered by that shared past. How she fought off something dark. He was right, Jenna thought, a recollection swirling in her mind like the waves crashing in the distance. Every lesson felt like arrows striking at the approaching shadows. Those shadows, the ones that tried to keep her quiet, Jenna said, her pulse quickening with clarity. Whatever haunted the beach house, we can break their hold. She didn't hide that necklace for nothing. It's our key. A flicker of fear still gripped them, but the flicker of hope ignited a fire. Together, they chanted, a rallying cry that blasted into the night. They formed a circle, hands clasped fiercely, uniting their strengths and intentions. The shadows began to lurch forward again, but the necklace pulsed brightly, a response to their unified will. Confront your fears. You can't have us. Yelled Jenna, her voice booming now, reverberating with every fear and memory she had bottled up. We are stronger than you. The shadows recoiled at her words, undulating in rage. You'll never escape. The voice twisted, it was as if the shadows bore 1,000 anguished whispers at once. No. Jenna shouted back defiantly, channeling everything within her. You're wrong. We own our memories, those filled with love and laughter. You have no power over our bonds. In that moment, the necklace blazed with an intensity Jenna had never seen, illuminating the clearing in blinding white light. The shadows screamed, their anguished voices twisting and curling, grasping at the tendrils of light as it surged forth. Keep pushing. Mark encouraged, the intensity of their bonds becoming a tangible force that sent waves of energy surging outward. Jenna felt the power of those cherished memories flooding back, every summer night, every story Grandma shared, all the connections they had formed. This is our truth. You can't take it from us. With that final scream, the light erupted like a supernova, consuming the shadows. The figures shrieked in a desperate chorus, twisting and writhing, before disappearing into the light, lost in the brilliance that radiated from them. For a moment, it felt as if the very air shimmered, and then, like a great sigh of relief, the darkness pulled back, breathless, Jenna opened her eyes, and the world shimmered back into focus. They stood cleared of the shadows, the beach house behind them now feeling more like a refuge than a prison. The night was alive with the sounds of the waves, a soothing symphony that soothed their frayed nerves. What just happened? Sarah trembled, still holding on to Jenna's tight grip. The necklace began to settle in Jenna's palm, its glow dimming to a soft pulse, a reminder of the fear they had conquered together. "We broke the curse," she whispered, half in disbelief. "But what about the truths it hinted at?" Derek stepped forward, wiping sweat from his brow. "We'll face those too. Every shadow holds pieces of our family. It's time to unearth everything we've pretended to forget." With newfound resolve, they turned back toward the beach house, its foundation steady and awaiting their return. The ocean felt different now, less like a predator and more a partner, willing to share its secrets if they ventured together. "We'll find our way through this," Jenna declared, her voice echoing the defined certainty of her conviction. "No more secrets. We face the past head-on." As they stepped into the warm embrace of the night, Jenna smiled as she caught a glimpse of their future waiting just beyond the horizon. The past might be dark, but together with her friends, they would carve a path towards the light, writing their own story as they moved forward. The shadows lay behind them now, but with the promise of truth beckoning like a lighthouse in the distance. They were ready for whatever came next. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss out on the next thrilling chapter in Jenna's journey. Hit that button immediately. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to keep us alive in the algorithm. And don't forget, flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what lies ahead. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this all unfolds. Don't wait even one more second.